Before we go any further, take a moment right now and make sure you are subscribed. Because what you are about to hear today is not just another story about an old coin. This is about something many people have held in their hands without ever realizing its true importance. Something small, something quiet, something easily forgotten. Yet in the right moment, in the right condition, it can carry a value that feels almost unbelievable. And if you are someone who has ever kept old coins in a drawer, a box, or passed down from family, then this might be one of the most important stories you listen to today. Now imagine this. You are sitting at home, maybe on a quiet afternoon. You open an old tin box, the kind that has been sitting untouched for years. Inside, you find a handful of coins. Most of them look ordinary, worn from years of use. But one of them catches your eye. It is smaller than you expected, darker in tone, with a design that feels like it belongs to another era. You turn it over slowly, and you notice the words South Africa, South Africa, and a portrait that seems both familiar and distant. That coin, my friend, could be something far more special than you ever imagined. Today we are talking about the 1/4 penny coin from the era of George VI, a piece that comes from a time when the world itself was very different. This coin was minted during a period of history filled with change, uncertainty, and transformation. It carries not just metal, but memory. Not just a face, but a story. And for many collectors, this is exactly the kind of coin that sparks curiosity, excitement, and sometimes obsession. The first thing you need to understand is that the 1/4 penny was never a large or flashy coin. It was a humble denomination, used in everyday transactions, often overlooked even in its own time. People didn't save these coins. They spent them. They passed them along without a second thought. And because of that, finding one today, especially in good condition, is far more significant than most people realize. Now let's talk about the man on the coin. George VI was not a king who expected to wear the crown. His story is one of duty, responsibility, and stepping into a role during one of the most challenging times in modern history. When you hold this coin, you are holding a piece of that legacy. His portrait, stamped into the metal, represents a time when nations were rebuilding, economies were shifting, and everyday people relied on coins like this to get through their daily lives. But here is where things start to get interesting. Not all 1/4 penny coins are the same. To the untrained eye, they may look identical. But to a collector, the smallest detail can mean everything. The year of minting, the condition of the coin, the sharpness of the design, even tiny imperfections or variations. These are the factors that can turn an ordinary coin into something truly valuable. Think about condition for a moment. A coin that has been heavily circulated, scratched, worn down, and faded will always carry less value than one that has been preserved. But sometimes, even a worn coin can surprise you. Why? Because rarity is not just about condition. It is also about how many were made, how many survived, and how many are still out there waiting to be discovered. Now picture this. Somewhere, someone finds a 1/4 penny tucked away in an old collection. It looks ordinary at first glance, but upon closer inspection, they notice something unusual. Maybe it is a rare mint year. Maybe it has a slight error in the design. Maybe it was part of a limited production run that most people never paid attention to. Suddenly, that small coin becomes something much bigger. Collectors around the world are constantly searching for pieces like this. They study them, compare them, and sometimes compete to own them. Because in the world of coin collecting, it is not always the biggest or the shiniest coin that holds the most value. It is the one with the story, the one with the rarity, the one that stands out in ways that are not immediately obvious. Let's slow down for a second and really think about what that means. Somewhere out there, coins like this have been sitting in drawers for decades, passed down from grandparents to parents to children, forgotten, ignored, overlooked. And yet, at any moment, one of those coins could be rediscovered and recognized for what it truly is. And this is where your role becomes important. Because you don't need to be an expert to start paying attention. You don't need expensive tools or years of experience. All you need is curiosity, the willingness to look a little closer, to ask a few questions, to notice the details that others might miss. Take that 1/4 penny and examine it carefully. Look at the edges. Look at the lettering. Look at the portrait. Is it sharp or worn? Are there any unusual marks? Does the year match any known rare versions? These small steps can make a big difference. Now let's talk about why collectors value coins like this so highly. It is not just about money. It is about connection. When someone holds a coin from the era of George VI, they are holding a piece of history. They are holding something that existed during a time of global change, something that moved through the hands of people who lived very different lives from ours today. And that connection creates demand. And where there is demand, there is value. Over the years, certain versions of the one-quarter penny have become increasingly difficult to find. Some were minted in smaller numbers. Some were lost or damaged over time. And as the supply decreases, the interest grows. Collectors begin to search more actively. Prices begin to rise. And suddenly, a coin that once seemed insignificant becomes something people are willing to pay serious money for. But here is the part that most people don't realize. The biggest discoveries often happen by accident. Not in auctions, not in museums, but in ordinary homes. In small boxes, old drawers, forgotten collections. People who never expected anything suddenly find themselves holding something rare. And when that happens, everything changes. Imagine the feeling of realizing that the coin you almost ignored could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Imagine the moment when you decide to have it evaluated, to learn more about it, to understand its true place in the world of collecting. That moment is what drives so many people to start paying attention to coins. Now let's bring this back to the one-quarter penny itself. This coin may be small, but it carries a weight that goes beyond its size. It represents a time, a place, a story. And for the right collector, it represents an opportunity, because while many of these coins are modest in value, there are always exceptions. There are always those rare pieces, those special conditions, those unique characteristics that set one coin apart from the rest. And when all the right factors come together, the value can rise in ways that surprise even experienced collectors. So here is the question you need to ask yourself. Do you have one of these coins? Have you ever seen one? Have you ever taken the time to really look at it? Because if you have, then you might already be closer to something valuable than you think. Take a moment to think about the journey of that coin. From the mint where it was created, to the hands that used it, to the places it traveled, to the moment it ended up in your possession. That journey is part of its value. That history is part of its appeal. And in the world of collecting, stories matter. Now let's talk about the moment everyone is waiting for. The value. Most one-quarter penny coins from the George VI era will not make headlines. They will carry modest value, appreciated by collectors, but not extraordinary. But every once in a while, a coin appears that changes everything. A coin in exceptional condition. A coin with a rare variation. A coin that stands out in a way that cannot be ignored. And when that happens, the value can climb far beyond expectations. There have been cases where coins like this, under the right circumstances, have reached astonishing figures. Not because they are large, not because they are flashy, but because they are rare, desirable, and deeply connected to history. And this is where the story takes its most exciting turn. Because if you happen to have one of those rare versions, if your coin meets the right conditions, if it captures the attention of serious collectors, then the value of that small, overlooked one-quarter penny could rise to a level that feels almost unreal. That we are talking about the kind of value that can reach up to $2 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. A coin that most people would ignore, a coin that could sit unnoticed for years, the coin that might already be in your home right now, could, under the right circumstances, be worth up to $2 million. And that is why stories like this matter. That is why paying attention matters. That is why something as small as a one-quarter penny can become something extraordinary. So before you move on, before you forget about this, take a moment. Check your coins. Look through your collections. Ask your family members. Because you never know what might be waiting to be discovered. And remember, the difference between an ordinary coin and an extraordinary one often comes down to one simple thing: someone taking the time to look a little closer.